there, this is Marcia Worrell, your local Close to My Heart consultant here in Columbus, Georgia. Today I'm going to create a card with you from Make It From Your Heart Volume 4. If you've not seen the Make It From Your Heart Volume 4, it is an awesome resource showing you different types of cards that you can make in the particular Volume 4. And then in some of the previous volumes, it also has scrapbooking layouts as well as cards. So today the card we're going to make is over on page 47, and that particular card is your regular A2 size card, nothing super fancy, but we are going to utilize some of our most recent products to help design it. So in this particular card, you'll see the measurements are over on the left hand side, and then the two sample cards that they have in the book are over on the right. So I'm going to start with a White Daisy card base. And I've already pre-cut my paper. My very first strip is a 4 1/4 by a 4 1/4 by 2 inch strip, the pattern paper from Central Park collection. My second strip is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that is also from Central Park. And then the very last little strip is just a sheet of poppy cardstock, and it is measured at 4 1/4 by a 1/2 inch. Now, you can really use any paper that you have. I just happen to like the Central Park collection, and since I had it, I thought I would go ahead and use it. So I just simply adhered all three of those little strips together onto my card. Of course, I started with the largest piece first because I wanted to make sure it was lined up at the bottom. Then I went with the middle piece there, the little goldish yellow color. And then lastly, I will place the poppy strip on. Now, I also decided I wanted to add a little extra dimension, so I pre-cut 2 pieces of ribbon. The ribbon is the white and gold. It's a 1/4 inch by 5 yards when you purchase it on the spool. Again, that's a Close to My Heart ribbon, and I simply cut 2 pieces. The first piece, I actually just wrap around the little yellow strip there. And then the little second piece is used to sort of create a faux tie. And so you'll see me cut that and then kind of trim it down. That way I am able to give that dimension without using the ribbon all the way around the back half of the little piece of paper and causing extra bulk. You just want to make sure that you have a good adhesive to help hold it down. That way it doesn't pop out on you later on. And so you'll see me adding extra adhesive to make sure that it doesn't come loose, so that the card recipient for this sort of congratulations on your new home card. And so it's really cute. This month, we have an awesome Stamp of the Month, and I'm actually utilizing the Stamp of the Month stamp, and then also an additional stamp set that was a previous Stamp of the Month stamp, and you'll see them both in the video here shortly. And so I will make sure I showcase those so that you can see them. So as I'm tying the ribbon, like I said, I go in and I trim it down. That way it sort of has those little slants at the end. And then lastly, after I add that last piece of ribbon, I will go in and add the strip of poppy on the top and adhere it down for that completed 3 little panel look that you see on the pattern. Now, these sizes are really just a guesstimate if you want to use these dimensions to kind of fit the pattern, but it's not an absolute necessity. You obviously could tailor them or tweak them just a little smaller or a little larger if you could, but it's a great pattern, this pattern 21, to give you a basis. So for the stamp sets, again, I am utilizing the highlight reel, which is the July Stamp of the Month, and then also the Color Your Life stamp set. And that Color Your Life was the Stamp of the Month for back in April. And the Color Your Life is so cute. It has the Celebrate on it and several other little sentiments. And then the highlight reel has the little adorable house that we're going to use. Today I am using the Archival Black ink. It is one that I just recently started using. I was using mostly Memento Black for most of my projects, but decided to switch over and start using the Archival Black. And then we will be coming out with a few new types of ink pads this fall that you'll have an opportunity to see as well, and so you'll see me showcase those in the future. So one thing to note about our clear acrylic blocks that we use for our stamps is that they do have a very thin little line at the bottom of them, and that little line is actually there to help you with your lining and alignment of your stamps onto your block. So the great thing is that that little thin line, when you place your stamps on it, it helps you get everything lined up so it's nice and neat and even. So in the video, you'll see me point out where that line is, and you'll see me line up the Celebrate stamp in order to try to make sure it goes onto the card in a correct fashion without it, being all wobbly. And it turned out pretty good. Sometimes it's a little hard for me to line things up like that. But you'll see me press it on, stamp the stamp one time on a piece of scratch paper, and then I stamp it again because I wanted it to sort of have an ombre effect. I didn't want it to be full on black for the word Celebrate, and that turned out great. Then you'll see me take the little small stamp and actually use it, the little house. I'm going to stamp it, and it takes me a couple of tries. It is a new stamp. I've not used the little house before, and sometimes when you're trying to condition them, they don't always pick up all the ink right away. So that one I had to stamp a couple of times, and then once I got it right, I take my scissors, our little micro tip scissors that we carry, and I cut out the little house. And for me at that point, the hardest part is probably trying to figure out where I want to put the house. So the house, of course, I move it around a little bit onto the card and decide finally, where I want to leave it, and actually place it. And the great thing about it is I hadn't adhered anything yet, so I was able to kind of shift it around as much as I wanted to. So you'll see me continue to work here just a little bit. I'll let you watch it for just a few seconds. And like I said, trimming down the little house and then having placement for it was probably the hardest part, deciding where to put it. But ultimately, I ended up putting it on the right side of the card and trying to follow the sketch a little bit, because if you recall on the book, the sketch had the stars in one of the cards on the right-hand side. So that worked out really great. And so that's kind of what I decided to go with. I just think I placed it maybe a little lower than what the initial sketch had on it. But like I said, that is totally fine. With the sketches, again, it's just a general idea to kind of get you going, to kind of give you some creative juices and some creative motivation and a boost. And then you can really tailor them to however you want to. And so, like I said, I decided to place it on the right-hand side. I decided to use 3D foam tape. That is something that we carry. We do also carry 3D foam dots, and unfortunately I am currently out of them. In my most recent order, I did place an order for some more. They should be here, I think later on this weekend, this week coming up. And I will do a haul video on my latest order. I placed a pretty good size order, and then I also had some Hostess rewards I decided to go ahead and redeem, and picked up some extra goodies that I needed, to include 2 packs of those foam dots. So I'm using the 3D foam tape instead, since I am out of the dots, and you'll see me place that on the back of the little house so that then I can adhere it to the little house. And that way it does have a little bit of dimension. The great thing about the foam is it does give it a little bit of height, and we do have 2 different types. We have the thin foam tape, and then we have the thicker, and this one of course is the thicker, so it does give it a little bit higher dimension. And on here you'll see me place that in place. Please excuse my kids in the back, they're upstairs and I think they've forgotten I'm taping a video. And so now that I finally figured out where I want the house, I decide I want to place some of our Central Park sequins. That is one of the cute little embellishments that came with the Central Park card making set. And the great thing about it is you get 3 different colors. You get the red color, the yellow, and the blue. And any of the 3 really would have looked great on this card. But I decided to go with the blue to kind of bring out the blue in the pattern paper at the bottom. Again, excuse my kids. And I really like the blue because it's a soft blue, so it wasn't too bright, especially since there wasn't too much blue in the card itself. But I want it just enough to bring out that pattern in there. So you'll see me add the sequins. I find when I add the sequins, it's so much easier if you're using a pair of scissors, like you see I have the micro tip, or a stylus, something that will get up under where the little adhesive is. So you'll see me pretty much finishing up the card here. I'm just folding it and creasing it along the side, and for the most part the card is complete. So you'll see my version with the Celebrate and then the version of the sketch that was in the volume 4 book. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. And as always, happy scrapping and stamping. Bye.